I'm Reverend Karin Lewis. I'm one of the senior ministers here at the New Vision Center. And you would think I would get over that. Every time, once we have the installation, I'm going to say it and not tear up. Yes. Yeah, right. It is so wonderful to be here, to spend this morning with you. Thank you for those of you who are here for the first time. If you stood, or if you are here for the first time and you decided not to stand, we are so blessed by your presence. I was smiling a little bit when I came up, when we have a physicist as our singer, a German girl speaking in English, the message. We are an interesting bunch of people, aren't we? Well, welcome to us. Welcome to the new us, as Sky so beautifully sang about in his song. We are in an interesting month, aren't we? Something should have given it away when our book of the month has the title, When Things Fall Apart. Believe me, when we picked this book to study, we knew it would take us deep. We knew it would bring us to look at everything that makes us wholeness, that makes us whole, that is wholeness. I don't know that we knew how deep it would take us. I don't know that we knew at what time it would come when we as a collective and as individuals go through what we are going through. Those talks that we had this month already, we all fall down. I loved that it pointed to tools on when life happens, how we can use them to lift us up. Because life does happen, doesn't it? Yes. I don't know about you, but life is happening all around. So today's message is called the Kaleidoscope of Light. When I was a little girl, I loved kaleidoscopes. Did you guys have them? Did you make them in school? And then you would look, and then I would come to a picture and I would be like, oh, this is perfect. Absolutely perfect. I don't want it to change. Stay there. And then you move it just a little bit, and the picture's gone. There's a message in there for us. There's a message because everything changes. That is not new. We know that. And yet, when it happens, when the outer form breaks apart, when relationships come to an end, when a business decision didn't pan out the way we wanted it, when something breaks apart, we are called every moment to be present to what is now. What is now? Yeah, don't we want to hold on to that picture? Whatever that is in our life, that perfect relationship, that friendship, that place we live in. And then what happens when we move? It's different. It's not good or bad, but it is different. I came across this wonderful quote by Marquita Harold. She says, "Resilient living is choosing to be larger than life's inevitable challenges and refusing to be defined by fate, circumstances, or the whims of others. No excuses, no regrets. Resilient living. That's what I want. How about you? Yes? Because what we have found, we cannot protect ourselves from things in life to happen. We can armor up, like Brené Brown so beautifully says, right? We can armor up and protect ourselves and hide behind a wall. But then we are not really involved in life. We are not really in the flow. We are safe. That's not what I want. I want a resilient life. I want to be able that when the stuff happens, notice I said stuff. I'm proud of myself. I already noticed. So when the stuff happens, I want to have tools. I want to be able to take whatever tool I can connect with and make it through it. See it through. Walk through it. Be that river that Jeff spoke about. Be there. You might ask, well, Reverend Karin, what are those tools you speak about? I'm so glad you asked. I am. Very glad. Our theme this month is faith. And I've been thinking a lot about what is my faith? What is it that I believe in when everything falls apart? Dr. Ken Gordon, the spiritual leader of all of Centers for Spiritual Living, he has a practice. He goes once a year for 2 days into a cabin, and he practices being in that cabin all by himself, without phone connection, without internet, with the pure intention to feel how it would be if everything would fall away. How would it be? He said it is that practice to feel into when the spouse is not there anymore, when the house is not there, when the job is not there, when who I thought and worked so hard to becoming is not there. What is left? What is left is the essence of who we are. It is that which rises up in those moments when we slow down enough to allow it to rise up. When we are not so busy doing this and doing that. When we give ourselves the opportunity to breathe. Trusting that this moment is perfect. And we live in this physical realm. There are things we have to do. There are interactions we are engaged in. So what are some of the tools that we can use to help us to connect with that inner part of the Most High and at the same time be a functional, resilient human being in this world? For me, I like to use faith as an acronym. It helps me walk through. It helps me to give me the structure when I feel like I'm on shaking ground to come back. What do I know for sure? So that is what we're doing today. We're going to walk through faith together, and because I'm German, we're going to do it backwards. Has nothing to do with me being German. I just made that up. Faith. You know, last weekend I was at a cabin back up north, and I got this download for this talk, and I got the first 4 letters. I know exactly what those are. Always know them. And then the H, I was like, oh, is it healing? Is it hope? And then I read when things fall apart. And the practice that Pema Chödrön, the Buddhist monk and teacher, invites us into is the practice of hopelessness. Hopelessness? What? It is a beautiful chapter where she walks one through that in order to be fully present in this moment right now, we have to give up hope that it would be different. In order to receive all the good that is here, all the love, all the excitement, all the adventure, all the truth that is right here, we have to give up hope that it would be different. We are not good at doing that, right? Things happen and we jump into what? Fixing it, ignoring it, going shopping, any of the neuroses that we have. And that's accepted behavior. We all do that. It takes courage to be in the moment when all those emotions and feelings that we usually like to get away from rise up within us. A beautiful one where we can see that is in our kiddos. Oh, I know there's a quote. Let's read the quote first. Pema Chödrön says, "If we are willing to give up hope that insecurity and pain can be exterminated, then we can have the courage to relax with the groundlessness of our situation. This is the first step on the path." It takes courage. That's why I'm so grateful this month of faith is coming towards the end of the year. We had a whole year where we are practicing, allowing our spiritual awakening to take place that got us here. And yet she says this is the first step. It is the first step to recognize what is so right now is painful. It is only if we walk through that we can rise up, like Reverend Leslie so beautifully talked about, out of the ashes. So this next picture is going to be a little challenging for some. It's my granddaughter, Annalise. And her mom and dad are committed to allowing her to feel her feelings. So when something happens that makes her cry, and she is 15 months old, so you know there's a lot of things that make her cry. She's not allowed to touch the remote control. She's not allowed to do this. So when she has those emotions rising up in her, they're allowing her to walk through them. They're not sending her to a corner to deal with it or anything like that. And they're also not trying to pacify it. They're allowing it to go through her. It's the first noble truth of this recognition that what we experience as suffering is not wrong. It is. If we can accept it as is, if we can be willing to be fully in this moment, however uncomfortable it feels, we can walk through it. And so then this picture was about 2 minutes later. Right? And it takes us to the letter T. Truth. The definition that Dr. Ernest Holmes has for truth is that which is the reason, it is the reason, cause, and power in, through everything. It is birthless, deathless, changeless, complete, whole, perfect, self-existent, causeless, almighty, God, spirit, law, mind, intelligent. It is simply everything that implies reality with a capital R. It is God, the allness of life. And when we connect with that, when we allow that to come and have its way with our being, it strengthens us enough to then face with whatever needs to be faced. And so this journey of faith is really a strengthening of the I am. It is a strengthening of the I am, to recognize that who I am, even in the midst of change, of things that are happening. There's a part in me, there's a part in you that has never, ever been changed, that has never been hurt, that has never been harmed, that is pure. It is the essence of who you are. Now we say that. We say that often here. The walk in faith invites us to give it more room. To give the I am more space. One of the important things when we look at strengthening our experience of feeling who I am is to look at boundaries. Is to look at ways how I can define for myself, this is what's okay for me, and this is not okay. Boundaries are not something that we need to communicate out to the world, per se, and say, oh, here, this is my boundary, please do not cross this. No. Because in boundaries work, what's important to remember is it's not up to the other person. It is my responsibility. So if a boundary has been crossed, it is I that has to take the consequences. Either talk to the person about it, say, this is not working for me, and then remove myself. What boundaries are not used for, and I think that this is what happens a little bit, and that's why boundaries got a little bit of a bad name, is like, this is my boundary, and I need you to be a certain way. No. My boundary has nothing to do with the other person. We all get to be who we are. This is important when we are working on strengthening the I am, when we are creating the container to allow ourselves to have that part within us, that shy part, come out. and be with another. The I am. I think the one who says it the most beautiful is Rumi. He says, out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make any sense. How can we cultivate this experience of the I am, God as me, more in our daily life? That is a question that only you can answer. If you feel within yourself a desire that rises up to come home to yourself, to feel who you are, regardless of what's happening out in the world, it is a question well worth contemplating. What can I do to feel more the pure essence of who I am? And strengthen in that, and stand in that, so that I can go out into the world and be with another. So we have hopelessness, we have truth, the I am, and it brings us to A. And A stands for acceptance. Accepting what is. It behooves us to start with ourselves. In this teaching that Pema Chödrön so beautifully talks about, it is the understanding that whatever part I don't accept in myself, that is the part I don't accept in another. Let's breathe in on that one. Yeah. Whatever I don't want you to see about me, it seems like that's what life delivers to us in pretty and sometimes not so pretty packages, doesn't it? Yeah. If I am not willing to stand in the wholeness of who I am, my shiny parts and my not so shiny parts, life will deliver reflections of that to me. So how do we do that? How do we accept who we are? This is a good place for it. Because what happens in spiritual community is those parts that we don't accept within us have a tendency to show up in our spiritual community. The parts that I want to not acknowledge walk through the door, move in right next door, send me a letter. So I want us to practice this. I want us to practice accepting and blessing. And let's start with another. So I invite you to just close your eyes or allow your gaze to soften and think about the person who just rattled you this morning, last night, somebody that didn't behave the way, gosh darn, in your universe, they should be behaving. Everybody has that person? For a minute, we are going to breathe in, and on the in-breath, say their name or whatever they did, like the one who cut me off in traffic. Just breathe in, saying, I accept you, and breathe out, saying in your mind, I bless you. I asked Frank to play the piano for us for 1 minute. So for 1 minute, every time you breathe in, I accept you, as you breathe out the name, and then I bless you. Let's do that together. Breathe in, I accept you, I bless you. I accept you, I bless you. And letting it go. Come into this room, come back. This simple exercise is such a great tool to make peace. To make peace within us with all of the things that are happening out in the world. Accepting what is. What an assignment. And it brings us to F, and that's forgiveness. Forgiveness. We all have heard that we don't forgive the other person. Forgiveness is what makes it possible for us to accept all of who we are, everything that we have done. I love when Oprah said, if I would have known better, I would have done better. That willingness, the compassion for our younger self. Forgiveness of the self, of others. All of these tools are invitations. I believe they are not rocket science. They are things that we are invited to do. Desmond Tutu says, forgiveness is the way we set our interactions right. It is the way we mend the tears in the fabric. It is the way we stop our human community from unraveling. And isn't that the call? Aren't we called to stop our human community from unraveling? I feel called for that. I feel that this world is crying out for healing. It is way past the time of who is right and who is wrong. It is the calling for us to start anew, now, in this moment, as we accept whatever picture through the kaleidoscope we see at this time. I am so grateful to be on this journey with each and every one of you. Thank you. Thank you. Let us all take a breath together as we come together to do this activity that we know best how to do. To anchor this in affirmative prayer. If you are a practitioner of this teaching, a reverend, please rise. Please stand with me as we in consciousness enfold this entire community, all the beloveds who are here now and all of those who have ever come to the New Vision Center and all those who will come in the future, as we just hold them. And as I recognize that I am a manifestation of the divine, that within me the divine resides, that I have my being in it, the more I am allowing this I am pure essence to shine forward, to come and be here now, the more I can affirm this truth for every beloved. God is, I am, we are. And as we lean into this power, into this presence that guards and directs us at every moment, we are recognizing that the I am is all that is needed. That deep in the center of my being, a well of love and light bubbles up through every cell of my being. And so I speak a word. I speak a word from this place of deep knowingness, of love, of light, that all people everywhere recognize that who they are is enough. I speak a word of laying down any accusations. And stepping into that river of newness. How grateful I am to know that there is something within me, something within everyone that knows how to do this, that knows how to be, how to love. And so with an overflowing heart of gratitude for the depth, for the deep knowingness of this truth, I simply let it be. Placing this word into universal law, I call it good, and so it is.